Joining us now in studio is BYU football's player personnel director, Justin Anderson. I know Brian likes to call you Coach. Can I call you Coach as well?
Sure.
Coach Justin Anderson joining us. Justin, how you doing, man?
Doing great. Excited to be here.
This is kind of an exciting time. Besides the fact that it's Halloween tomorrow, I mean, this is early signing period. There's several times you're busy all year long, but there are certain times they get busier than another. I would imagine now is one of those times.
Yeah, it's starting to pick up a little bit. It's exciting because you got these guys that have signed their offer of admission to be accepted into BYU, and we couldn't be more excited about the guys that we have joining the BYU football program. And you know, anytime you can get top-rated athletes, doesn't matter what time of the year, we want to make sure that people know about it, and it gives great publicity to the program.
Yeah, we just read the announcement and saw some of those guys, and obviously just local around the community. We've kind of heard some of these stories, but very exciting to see more of the full list come out. And it's funny, Coach, because guys that have played and have been around the program have always said, you guys, they would come back and say, you guys are way more talented. And I'm like, no way. You guys had NFL guys. We're nothing. And then I'm coming back and I'm saying, you guys have way more talent. And then those guys are doing the same thing. And it just continues to build. What have you seen from the past few years, especially with BYU going independent, just the level of talent of the recruits that you guys are getting?
Yeah, it's exciting. So being away from the program for as long as I was and then coming back, you did see the talent pool has increased. And I think, the schedule, you guys just saw, I think I saw the schedule been announced, the 2016 schedule. You start playing teams like that, and I think kids get excited about that. They want to play in those venues. They want to be in the big stage. And at BYU, being independent, you're going to get that. I mean, you're playing on ESPN. You're playing every game's going to be televised for the most part. And then, we're playing top-rated teams. I mean, it's not, a Wagner, I guess, is thrown in every once in a while. But after the schedule we played, it's kind of nice to have a game like that, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And everyone else does it, really. I mean, all the SEC schools, if you look at their early schedules, they have one of those types of schools because once they get into their season schedule, when they're playing in the SEC, they need – it's going to be –
It's brutal, yeah.
Yeah, and so next year, that's kind of the feel we're going to get. We're going to get that kind of a feeling with the schedule we're going to be playing.
Whether or not people get into the how many stars, and I know Broncos talked about it, it just doesn't matter. It does excite fans to be able to see talented guys coming to their program, and you're getting a lot of those, and one of them, obviously, is Troy Warner. And people get excited when they see, well, look, he committed to Oregon, but now he's coming to BYU. And talk about being able to get that type of talent and what that says about the BYU program.
Well, there's no doubt you get a guy like that who can do so much. Not only is he a tremendous DB, but he also plays receiver for them, and he makes big plays. He's a great kid. He comes from a great family. And those are the kind of kids we need in our program. And really the stars thing, I think it is more set up for the fan base.
Yeah.
Because coaches really, I don't think they pay attention to that. They're going to go in, they're going to evaluate the kid themselves and see what he has to offer and the fit for that program. But he is a tremendous fit for our program in a lot of different ways. So I can't wait, personally, to see him in Cougar Blue. And then, it's going to be neat. He's going to be able to play with his brother. I had a brother that played here at BYU. We were 7 years apart. I never got that opportunity. And I would give anything to have that kind of opportunity. And they're going to have it. Two tremendous players. Fred's a great player in his own right, and now you get baby brother to come in there, and it's gonna be fun to watch.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to have that competition. You always joke and say that the little brother is better than big brother because he understands the mistakes that the big brother has made,
sure.
and then make sure he doesn't commit those same mistakes.
Do we know if there are any other Warner siblings that may be coming through the pipeline?
I wouldn't be sad if there were. That's for sure.
Right. So I'm really intrigued with that story just because he had committed to Oregon. Tell us some background on how that came about and how much of maybe the schedule or the spotlight of ESPN, the contract, or maybe even Fred himself, having an influence with that switch.
I think having Fred here and the success that Fred has had here, I don't think that hurts. And recruiting's an interesting process. And once a kid's committed, it doesn't mean that they've signed. Right. And so, you continue the guys that you really want, you continue to recruit, and you love them, and you let them know that what they can be a part of. And, you talk about the program and what it has to offer. And I've said this before, and I believe it. BYU is literally the most unique football program in the country. There's no one else like it. Other schools have great academics. Other schools have tremendous talent. There's a lot of those things that are similar. But the one thing that sets BYU apart is now we have to get kids that want to live a higher standard.
Yep.
And, some people turn from that. I think it's a tremendous thing. And I think a lot of kids see that as a way to help them elevate their game and to be not just an average person, but a top-level type of a person. And I think that Troy's going to fit into there.
Justin Anderson joining us here in studio on BYU Sports Nation, Director of Player Personnel for BYU Football. What is the process for these players, the 11 players that you guys have announced today? What's the process for them between today and January when they actually get here?
Well, 2 of them are still playing high school football,
Yeah,
so
right.
they're going to be getting in the playoffs and those types of things. So they've got to focus on their season and finish off strong, finish their academics. Those things are important for them. And the great thing about them is they're playing, so they're going to be in shape for the most part.
Yeah.
But I can't wait to see Coach Frank get a hold of them. There's going to be some fun times for them, some great experiences. But really, it's finishing. I think that's an important part. I've always believed not where you start, it's how you finish. That's an important. It says a lot about a person. So they'll finish strong, and then we'll get them here in January, and we'll basically say, Coach Frank, have some fun, buddy.
How does that conversation come about when you guys are recruiting a kid? Are you guys or maybe other coaches pushing them to graduate early, or are they coming to you guys, to the table and saying, hey, thanks for recruiting me. FYI, I can graduate, December and come in January.
It's interesting. I think every kid's different, and some kids, I think, get excited and they've done enough academically that they can graduate early. And when that happens, it's usually the student that does it.
Yeah.
They decide, hey, I'm done with high school. I'm ready to move on. I've done all I can. You don't see it a lot, but when you do, it's a huge advantage because now you get those kids in the winter program, the strength and conditioning. They get spring ball, and really those guys have a tremendous chance now of playing for you.
I've seen the tweets from you and the coaches, and needless to say, the coaching staff is racking up the frequent flyer miles right now. You've got coaches all over the country right now, don't you?
Yeah, BYU is literally, it is a national recruiting base. So we've got coaches in South Carolina, Hawaii, Washington, California. That's awesome. And, even though it's a bye week, for the coaches, it's really not. Recruiting never stops. And so when there's a chance for us to slow down, well, then it means it's a chance for us to pick up in our recruiting aspect. So we've got coaches out there watching some high school football around the country, and it's exciting. I missed that part of it. I'm not going to lie. I loved going and watching high school football.
Especially if you're recruiting in more of the warmer places like Hawaii or Florida or Cali.
Yeah, it's interesting how Marky got that one. He's like, hey, I think I need to go to Hawaii.
I was going to ask, do you have to draw straws for that one, or did someone just say, that's mine?
No, that's Marky's, and there's some jealous coaches, I'm sure, but he doesn't mind going back to the islands.
Right. And that's based off of just connections and maybe just experience, right? As far as how you guys delegate.
Correct.
Areas.
And Marky was Coach out to Hawaii was a tremendous high school football player in the state of Hawaii. He was very, very good. And so he's from there. He's got ties there. He knows the coaches there. And in recruiting, all that makes a difference. Yeah. When you have those connections, as you make, when I was in the South, as you made connections with different high school coaches, now you have that opportunity it never stops. So no matter where you go, you have that tie, and it's always going to help you in the recruiting process.
How much has social media changed the recruiting process?
Oh, jeez. I don't even know if I can put it into words. I played here in 2002. It's long ago. It doesn't seem that long ago, but it's unbelievable.
When I played in 2009, 2010, we weren't even allowed to have Twitter just had started coming along, but Facebook was no, you can't have a Facebook. and so to come back and see the changes and guys tweeting and even coaches tweeting, I'm like, what is going on, Coach?
It's changed the game. Literally. It's nonstop access to someone's life. So it could be good or bad.
Yeah.
For a recruit, it could be good or bad. So I think it is wise to be mindful of what you put on there, because not just for recruiting purposes, but when you get a job, those kind of things, employers want to know. And so it's changed the game a lot. It's helped. a ton because it gives you access, it gives you insight to recruits that you didn't necessarily have before. But that, once again, that could be good or bad, depending.
It can be. I remember a pastor, I was listening to a sermon the other day. He said, I could tell at somebody's character and how they are just based off of who they're following.
Yeah, it's true. I think there's a lot of truth to that.
Following rappers and compared to this person or this, so that was interesting there. What has been the response from potential 2016 recruits in regards to the schedule when you guys are sitting down in the living room and opening up that book?
It's positive. It's right now is an evaluation period, so we can't actually sit down with a recruit yet. That'll start in December. But when you put that out there and kids see that schedule, I mean, like I said earlier, it's not necessarily an SEC schedule, but that's not a patty cake either. I mean, I can't see many other programs that will play that type of a schedule up front even. Right. A lot of teams will play 1 or 2 easy games up front, and then we've got game after game after game, and there's not really a break in there. I'm excited for it. I think as an athlete or as a competitive person, I think I tweeted out the other day, I love it because you got to earn respect, and this is a chance for us to go and I think we did some of that this year, playing some big teams. We played competitive in those games, won some of those games, and now we get another opportunity to do it. So I think as a recruit, as we put this information out there, they get excited. You see them retweeting it, and they're hashtagging this and that. I mean, that's what you want because it shows the excitement of what's going on, and it is exciting.
He's Justin Anderson, the Director of Player Personnel for BYU Football. Justin, as you mentioned, recruiting it's a nonstop deal, so we appreciate you taking a few minutes and joining us in studio today.
Thanks. I'm so glad you guys had me in.